Meet Jack Hammer, a veteran soldier who just retired from a secret service, so secret, even he didn't know what he did. Of course, being a soldier, he already knows his way around a firearm. He's also developed a particular set of skills. Desensitized because of all the women and children he's slain makes him immune to panic. Of course, he's highly trained. He's got quick hands from years of planting evidence undetected. He's a combat engineer who is strong and fit from all the cardio gained from dancing on the corpses of women and children. Allegedly. Anyway, he starts off with an M9 pistol and a hunting knife. He equips that bad boy and tunes in for some Gordon Ramsay to get himself hyped up. He grabs some food from the kitchen, sniffs a line of coke, and heads out the front door. He breaks open his own garage and finds his axe, which he'd been saving for the midlife crisis caused by PTSD he was planning to have in his 50s, where he murders his family. But his family are already dead, so he has to kill zombies instead. But without the cries of fear and confusion, he was pretty disappointed. He marks the locations he's been, a habit from his military days. He finds a gun cleaning kit, which is used to repair guns, which is part of the gun mod I'm using. He finds his first stash of ammo. That was really quick. Then he breaks into his neighbor's house, which is bigger than his, and decides to claim it as his own. The next day he takes out a bunch of the surrounding dead to claim more territory for himself. He sets off an alarm and runs for it. "Here they come," Jack says with a crazy look in his eye, which were also bloodshot from all the cocaine. He fights them off ferociously, splitting their skulls with his axe and progressing his skills. He finishes off the last one and takes a rest to catch his breath. He finds a pretty crap gun, but a gun is a gun. He begins the disassembling process so he can hotwire a car, because for some reason he doesn't have a car even though he's a homeowner in his 40s. He returns home and has a close call with a zombie at his back door. He dumps the bodies away from his house because they smell. He wakes up at 4:30 AM to eat a pork chop with a dry mouth because he doesn't fear choking. He finds an empty gas can, which may help him attain a car. And he also finds some shotgun ammo, which is his favourite type of ammo. He brings back all his ammo and stuffs it in a cupboard. He makes a Molotov just to keep on hand, because that is Zombie Survival 101. This is where Jack has been so far. He spots a TV he can dismantle, but stops when he hears a zombie nearby. He investigates, but can't find it. So he just closes the window. Out of nowhere, the zombie attacks. Jack, with only a screwdriver in hand, doesn't panic, but simply assesses the situation from every angle of the room before taking the zombie out. The next day, he finds his first shotgun. Damn, looking cool, Jack. Get that milk down your son. He takes out more zombies and finds a pickaxe just laying on the ground. He checks out the nearby pickup, but it's in awful condition, so he just takes the fuel. The TV disassembler has found a nest of TVs and gets to work. Still not level 1 electrical though. He screws up his push on a zombie, but luckily it's just a scratch, this time. But then he makes up for it with this crazy double 180 push. Whoa. There's too many zombies, so he decides to bring out the shotty. This, of course, attracts even more zombies, and he runs out of ammo. He gets surrounded and very nearly dies, losing his beret in the process. His beret he got, of course, for super secret military stuff, which is worth more than his own life. After returning home, he washes the blood and guts from his body whilst planning a way to retrieve his beret. He realizes that he has 350 rounds for his magnum, which should be plenty to get back his beret. One by one, he takes out the zombies with great precision. He locates his blood-soaked beret and puts it back on his head. He finds a SPAS 12 shotgun and locates a car in near perfect condition with a full tank of fuel. All that's left is to get a few more XP for the electrical skill and the car is his. He finally gets the level and the car is his. Upon returning home, he admires his collection of guns and ammo, which inspires him to seek out more stuff, and he sets out with determination. Firing his gun around more than the American police, he finds himself in a bit of a pickle. He's not running away, he's retreating. It's completely different. He grabs something a bit more appropriate and heads back out. Jack empties huge loads onto the faces of the zombies, rendering their undead status invalid. Jack often forgets to reload, causing some pretty close calls, but his training kicks in last second and he recovers. He finds some tall round buildings that stand out to him for some reason and climbs the creepy staircase up. He goes inside and clicks on some bricks for a long time, thinking they're a box. He gets tired and finds a nearby house to spend the night in. After securing the downstairs, he realizes this house has an amazing kitchen that sweeps him off his feet. It's love at first sight, and Jack decides to make this his new base. After exploring the downtown area, Jack struggles to get his car back out. He finally makes it free and is on his way. After surviving 10 days, Jack had reached level 6 aiming and had killed 836 zombies. Not bad. Killing zombies was easier than killing people, but it was not as satisfying for Jack, so he has to make up for it with quantity. He sets out to find a larger vehicle so he can take all his stuff to the new base. He finds one of those money truck things in pretty good condition and takes it, leaving his old car to die. He sticks all his guns in here, all his food in here, and all his random tools and crap in here. He starts causing a ruckus in town and draws out a big horde of zombies, which is where the Molotov from earlier comes in handy. He finishes off the last few zombies and the area is his to explore. He decides to explore this building first for no particular reason. Then he finds the police station, which means more guns, and more guns means more funds. Unfortunately, the building is all barricaded off, meaning Jack will need a sledgehammer to get in. Jack takes his anger out on the zombies inside. Time to go find a sledgehammer. Literally like 5 minutes later, Jack gets extremely lucky and finds one on some roadworks. He searches some nearby storage units and finds some ghillie pans. Then with his new sledgehammer, he breaks into the police station in search of weaponry. After a short search, he finds a crap ton of guns and ammo, which makes him grin from ear to ear. Then if you thought he couldn't grin anymore, he finds an even bigger room with an even larger stash. He has the genius idea of blowing a hole in the wall and driving around to it for easy access and fills his truck with the goods. Jack finds a cool building filled with materials and storage space. There's even a sweet upstairs area with plants. Jack takes a deep breath and inhales the leafy aroma. The place even had a living area with everything Jack needs and a sofa to sleep on, which sealed the deal, and he decided this will be his new base. Also an office for him to write his short stories while smoking cigs and drinking black coffee like a Chad. He starts to unpack his things in the convenient storage space provided. Now it was time for the mission of moving all of his stuff once again. Luckily it's not too far away. All the ammo canisters go in the corner because it looks cool. And this is Ammotopia, where Jack will go for all his ammo needs. Jack didn't realize he wasn't holding anything and smashed a window, giving himself a nice deep wound. An escape rope is attached to the main floor and the stairs are removed, giving Jack a nice safe space to chill. He heads out, really just to try his gun out for fun, and gains an aiming level. With the last one taken out, he's free to mock all these zombies stuck behind a fence. 17 days alive, and Jack's killed 1,300 zombies. Jack finds another pig station and wonders why anybody during a zombie apocalypse would take the time to find a ladder and some paint just to paint Alive Inside above the door. It's very dark and creepy inside, but Jack isn't even that scared. He pushes on, juking zombies and putting lead between their eyes. But he runs out of lead and must retreat temporarily. He turns up with the truck, more ammo, and geez, that's a lot of zombies. Even Jack is feeling anxious at the sight of them, and I didn't think that was possible. Jack circles behind them and starts unloading hell. It's like shooting fish in a barrel, but instead of fish, it's pus-filled corpses. Now there's a ton of them outside. They won't go around because they think they can get through this barrier. Jack located the armory, and it was stacked. Maybe the most stacked armory he had ever seen this side of Mississippi. He goes for his classic technique to load the truck. Almost dies, but does soil his undergarments. Then he's off, just to crash a bunch and break his truck. Well, I'll be. That's a lot of zombies once again. Jack finds the top parts of his ghillie suit and now looks like a certified badass, even though the functionality of a ghillie suit in a city is pretty underwhelming. Seeing all these zombies stuck like this brings out the stepbrother inside Jack, and he has an idea. Burn, you foul, foul creatures. They were all reduced to ashes. Jack finally finds a needle to sew up his wound, and he's a happy boy again. Jack gets caught by a cheap shot when he wasn't even looking, but luckily it's just a scratch. He hotwires a car he can use to go find a better car. And finds a van in beautiful condition and fills her up with the good stuff. He places the generator outside his base, forgetting that he needs a generator manual to use it for some reason. He's a veteran soldier CIA MI6 beast, yet he can't figure out how to operate a basic generator without a full-on manual. So he heads out again in search of said sacred manual. He adds another vehicle to his white vehicle collection. Then he breaks into a pawn shop, low-key hoping he'll find the manual in there somehow. Jack finds a suspicious boarded up house. He didn't know the zombies were capable of making their own bases, and this news troubled him. He stole all their weaponry and put it in his new truck. He decides to dismantle some wreckages around his base to free up some room, until he realizes how much propane that takes and stops. 33 days survived, and Jack has killed 3,200 zombies, mostly with his shotgun. Jack finally rebuilds the front door to his base to avoid any future close calls. He discovers intel from the internet that generator manuals can be found in medical places, so he focuses his search there. He finds a bookstore to search, but has to clear out a butt ton of zombies. About a bajillion zombie kills later, he can finally access the bookstore. It wasn't there. This was a waste of time and ammo, and now Jack's sad. With little options left, he heads out for the Big Daddy Hospital in the center of town. He arrives to find the entrance blocked up. He finds the new entrance and makes his way in. He uses his keen eyes and military experience to determine that this is some kind of military base, which is cool except for the fact that it's crawling with zombies. Like really crawling. No, like seriously crawling. Jack wasn't prepared for such a hostile welcome and didn't bring enough ammo. He returns with way more ammo this time, although this time it's much harder to enter the base and he's being pushed back by the waves of undead. He He gets deeper inside, and they just keep coming. Jack finds a sick suppressor for his beloved shotty. Damn, that's cool, he says. Even he has to acknowledge how cool he is. He locates the main entrance to the hospital and makes his way in. Little did he know they were holding a surprise party for him. And he nearly dies. And then it happened. It had been so long, but Jack had finally found the generator manual. But it was too early for celebration, as Jack now had to get out with his life. Sandwiched between two hordes in a corridor, Jack is forced into a dead-end room. Things were looking bad. Zombies kept pouring through the door, and all Jack could do was keep unloading shells. But if he ran out of ammo, he was a dead man. And when he had to reload, it gave the zombies enough time to close the gap. Three and a half minutes of constant shooting later, Jack was finally able to leave the room. The zombies were never ending. Jack made his way out of the building with his life, but only just, as he only had 9 shells remaining. A little bit more of that, and he was dead. How are there still zombies at this point? There's a literal Minecraft spawner around the corner. Jack sleeps in his truck after his longest day so far. Then he spends the next morning looting. He's very happy to leave this death trap behind him for now. Jack takes the generator and sets it up at the gas station to get some fuel. He fills up 9 cans and heads back to his base to set up the generator. There is finally power in here. He realizes that he has a ridiculous amount of ammo. Literally 85 boxes of 9mm rounds. Oh yeah, and he found a minigun. He goes outside like a giddy schoolboy to try out his new toy. But it just made him exhausted very quickly, which sucks. With great dexterity, Jack is able to climb up a rope with a minigun in his hands. Impressive. The minigun attracted trouble to Jack's home, and without realizing he's still exhausted, he makes the almost fatal decision of trying to run past the zombies, but of course he cannot run. But years of training allows Jack to perform extremely well under pressure. Jack's stats weren't the most diverse, but his aiming and reloading had gotten extremely good. Jack finds another military base, but he has so much ammo already that he just takes the shotgun ammo and moves on. Jack was starting to realize that although he loves his base, it was starting to get tiresome to be in the center of town and have to deal with a ton of zombies every time he was away for a few days. So he set out search for a new base, a bit further away from town. This place had its own impenetrable fence, but it was a bit depressing looking and had nowhere to sleep. He heard of a secret base far out in the woods, perfect for surviving the upcoming winter. He searched through the woods until he eventually found it, hidden into the landscape. He climbed in through the window and claimed the structure for himself. It was perfect. The living room was nice and cozy, and the storage room even had its own well for infinite water. Jack did some renovations, lit the fire, and realized he was emaciated. That part wasn't good. He finds a nice Ranger truck in very nice condition, and a massive trailer with 500 storage space, which is insanely good and ideal for bringing over all his stuff. He tries to pull it with his little baby car, but it wouldn't budge. Jack cuts a path through the trees from his base to the road for better access, and he builds a ton of crates for all his stuff to come. He hotwires the Ranger truck and manages to pull the trailer with it. Now he was set for the insanely annoying and awkward journey to bring all his stuff across the map through lots of tight spaces that would make him lose his mind for the next hour or so. Thank God he doesn't live here anymore and doesn't have to clean all this up. He was finally back with his stuff, a little less sane, but at least it was done. The generator was set up, and he was set to survive here for the winter. Jack found a bridge and he was determined to cross it. He made a hole in the fence like he was crossing the US border and slipped through. He finds a massive military vehicle, which he's more used to blowing up for the government and blaming it on a terrorist organization than he is at driving it himself, not to mention it's in terrible condition. On the other side of the bridge, he finds a van to use in order to explore this island. He finds a huge barricaded building which looks like an airport, which he of course breaks his way into. He gets inside and realizes it's a mall teeming with the undead. He starts cutting them down as they pour out of the building. After a while, he's exhausted and pulls out his favourite lead-spewing friend. He's forced back out of the premises, and running low on ammo, he makes like a bush and leaves. He makes it back to his original van on the other side of the bridge to get more ammo, and something special that he'd been looking for a good opportunity to use. Pretty anticlimactically, two tiny little flames are squeezed out and Jack is pretty pissed. With the entrance now on fire, Jack works on a new way in. When he's surprise attacked by a flaming zombie, he knocks it down, but having a brain fart, he forgets how fire works and engulfs himself in flames. Slightly panicked, he walks the flames off, but is left at death's door with severe burns. He disinfects the burn, cleans it, and almost dies again, then bandages it up, with a tiny bit of HP to spare. Safe to say that was enough for one day, and Jack sets off for the long journey home. Ah, home, where the fire is warm, the food is plentiful, and not a zombie in sight. Jack analyzes his fingernails in great detail, then works on his mechanical skill in the rain like a real man. Guys, if you don't know how cars work in extreme detail, then how can you call yourself a man? If you don't own a wife beater stained with oil and dirt, I hate to be the one to break it to you, but you are in fact female. Jack realizes you can't repair the ghillie suit for some reason, and this makes him sad. Then suddenly, Jack had a great idea. Instead of having to travel all the way around the map every time, why doesn't he just build his own bridge? It was gonna be a job of epic proportions, but Jack was determined and skilled in the art of carpentry. They don't call him Jack Hammer for nothing. Fun fact, I thought carpenters were people who made carpets until I was like 15. And so it began. He worked all day, every day, to make his dream a reality. He was gaining carpentry XP at an unprecedented rate. He made use of the trailer to haul large quantities of planks to the bridge. He had to test whether the car could get on his bridge, and unfortunately it was being blocked, so adjustments were made, until the car was able to use the bridge. The zombies tried to interfere with Jack's bridge, but Jack couldn't be stopped. The bridge was happening. He'd get wood, he'd place wood. It didn't matter if it was raining, it was snowing. As long as Jack had a hammer and arms to use it, the bridge was gonna be built. The bridge was quite long now, and it was taking a lot longer to travel up and down. This is where he is now, deep into the ocean. But there was a long way to go. So there you have it guys, 100 days survived as an OP soldier. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you'll subscribe for more. See you next time.